Testing, testing. Okay, that works. I will go silent for another few minutes. Lovely, my camera appears to be frozen. This is the kind of high quality stuff that the people come here for. Well, what do you know about that? Okay, well, then I suppose I will reactivate my camera. Let's try that. What do you say? What is up with that? This was working not 5 minutes ago. Well, alright, great. One sec. Yes. All right. That took some finagling, but hey, that's that's technology for you. Hey, welcome back to Maps and Morons. This is gonna be my first stream in a little bit, and there's nobody here, so I mean, I'll just kind of. There might be somebody here. I have a chat widget that I'm gonna test now that we're kind of here. I don't know where it is, so let me type something. Hey, there we go. Dad the Dungeon Master in the building. Let me see just exactly why this isn't popping up. I have a chat widget that I added. And Dad, luckily for the both of us, this is much easier than even I anticipated. There's some initial setup that it requires, but and aside from the normal technical difficulties, you know, it's pretty easy to maintain. Don't let my um, clear just prowess intimidate you, right? Everybody can reach this level of technical proficiency with enough training and practice. I guarantee it. Hello, Vesper. I noticed that you followed after my last stream and I popped up on here. So, sorry you missed us last time, but I do appreciate you coming in. Twitch is certainly iffy. All around, not just you. Although I understand the internet stuff. That can be a hang up. But thanks for dropping in. Um, this is going to be pretty chill. And I'm not getting this chat widget working today because that's complete, you know, just miles above my pay grade. Found you through YouTube Shorts. Oh, so yeah, we did. Did we get those YouTube Shorts up? I wasn't totally sure. Was it through a YouTube short that we made from the stream, or was it from um the feed, like the For You kind of feed? Because I'm still trying to kind of figure out my analytics here. I'm sure I've got. There have been shorts that have been made. Doesn't look like those shorts are up yet, but like if you found us through the feed for live streams, hey, check that out. The algorithm sometimes works. I hope you enjoy what we've got going on. Let's start giving some sort of rundown about your channel, that you're writing a book. Yes. Yes, indeed. Wait, no, you did not. Dad, you didn't. Nuh-uh. No way. How did I not see that? That's a rare treat. Dad the Dungeon Master, Vesper. This is absolutely okay, where you found it? Well, heck yeah, that's amazing. That is really cool because yeah, Dad and I have gotten to very casually collaborate on some cool stuff. Pretty much just in the realm of, you know, personal branding, I guess, cuz the live streams are kind of to supplement the writing for now at least. 700 views. Hang on. No way. I got to watch this. I got to watch this. Vesper, let's talk about your experience in writing as well. That's absolutely kind of what this channel is for too. Just kind of putting the vibe out and getting to know other creatives in the space. 700 views. I can't even imagine. Hmm. What's going on? I will find it later, because the biggest thing about this right now is for the first time in Maps and Morons history, I've got a deadline here. So coming up on next week, We got to get some words on the page. So that's kind of the focus of today. Dad, I appreciate the shout out. That's epic. You'll also find, perhaps, if you go to the store here, and I say the store, but it's just like kind of our website. We've been working on kind of building out our mercantile side of stuff. Dad, the Dungeon Master, has his own store from there. And before I jump on, yeah, okay, lots of cool stuff in chat. Before I jump on that, I'll direct your attention to the Maps and Morons website. Uh, Basically, the publishing venture, Maps and Morons, was the first idea, and it took on a different identity when I was thinking about having to write this book. What else can we do? How else can we add value to that? And so we've got a little website here, and pretty soon you'll see some stuff up here. I want to make system agnostic resources for all of your tabletop playing needs. So that's adventures, alternate rule sets you can add and adapt. Um, so the bottom line there is, um, it's yeah, it's right here. Remix, evolve, retrofit, because that's what I do with all the stuff that I find that I buy. It always has a bit of like an aftermarket feel to it when I'm done. But if you go to Maps and Morons, we've got all of our socials linked, and I've got a tab here for inspirations and legends. I'll dictate this for you. If you need some tips for your writing, a jolt of ideation for a game, or a new independent creator to support, then look no further than these unsung heroes of the hobby. Everyone on this list is dedicated to helping you achieve your fullest creative potential. Throw them a like, follow, or share, and tell them Radar sent you. That's another persona that I've adopted from esports, funnily enough. But you scroll down right here, and there we got the coolest dad right here up top. DM Dave, if for those you don't know, he's based in Norman. He's got an excellent store for all of your 5e needs. Great magazine, great adventures. But in terms of just that kind of value that we're trying to seek to add, right? Look no further than Dad the Dungeon Master. On my pantheon, he's the Jefferson or the Franklin up on my Mount Rushmore of awesome underrated creators to follow here. And the rest of the troops here, these are all my favorite people to watch. Funny skits, like I said, a quick jolt of ideation. The Church of Doom is really cool. He does weekly live streams. I've gotten to participate in one of those, and he'll create D&D inspired tables for like random encounters and stuff. So I got to participate in one of those, and like I'm in a YouTube video kind of because of the idea that I pitched got featured on that. That was awesome. Deck of DM things, one of my favorite guys. I found him on Facebook. A lot of like DIY stuff there. Ginny D is great. A lot of good music videos. Sensei Suplex has a really awesome independent project. Bob World Builder has great like kind of game building videos. So everybody on this list vetted and guaranteed to get you some cool stuff. And then I also have a ton of little tools here that I've found that I use. I'm gonna have to update this. It's gonna require a little bit of TLC, but bring the right tool to the job. And I also have a the store page that is in progress. But there's an Easter egg on this page. If you visit the website for yourself, please feel free to find it. It's for you. Let's go ahead and wrong window. Let's see what Twitch chat has to say. All right. Let's see. Vesper, yet to publish anything, but my biggest passion project, still heavily work in progress. First draft of the book to be done for the entire book by the end of this year. Excellent. That's really awesome. That's what my book is, basically. It's going to basically be the first half of the book for the class that I'm taking for my major, which is writing. And then from there, I've got, summer vacation and then my final semester in college to get it tuned up and finished. So, the reality of writing, honestly, is that it's probably going to take a couple of cracks, right? So don't get discouraged if your first draft doesn't really come to fruition or anything this year. Those hard deadlines can hold us back sometimes. But as long as you're enjoying the process, I wish you the best with that. I'm seeing here, jumping over to YouTube, always good. Multi-streaming is a lot of fun. This has been like the setup. And then let's see. Together we rise. Yes, sir. This is what we do. I'm still so humbled that you made a short. There's an entire little rectangle on your YouTube channel that talks about me. What? That's crazy. I appreciate that so much. Um, Substack is, yes. Sorry. So let me double check that. Mapsandmorons.com is like the uh the URL, right? And then there is also a Substack. I do have a Substack that I did my absolute darndest to keep up with, but it ended up getting swept under the rug in favor of other things. Substack is like such a cool community on here of writers in particular. So I have a couple ones. So like I have a personal blog for like esports related things. Little description here, and this is my buddy Braden. He is a uh, comics artist and illustrator and writer. So like he is super cool. Go follow him if you're on Substack. And then there is a Maps and Morons blog. Where is it? See, it's even been so long since I've actually like logged into this. I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. Maps and Morons. There we go. Spaghetti Domain Cleric. Yeah, that was my my first post here. Oh man, this was fun for a little bit. I might have to jump back into this at some point because it's definitely it's a good place to be. But this website was set up through Beacons, which is another free resource there. So yeah, very good stuff. I will put it. I'll put it in here. Okay. Welcome Vesper, the reincarnation of Vesper as Acid the Rainwing. I love it. I will put the link in the chat because I wonder if is it unpublished or something stupid like that? Because that's something I would do. That's absolutely something I would do. Uh, Here, yeah. No, I can type in my own chat. I'm an American. Let's do that. Can I? I'll put this in the let's read only mode. Uh, Here, yeah. Let me just. So this is Junkyard live streaming. This is what we do. Can I go to my own stream if I'm live on this account? How does this work? Okay, no, here it is. We're gonna start hearing myself. This is gonna destroy my brain. Let me. Okay. No, hey, stop talking for a second. Hey, no, I don't want to hear about your live streaming. I'm in the middle of saying something. Hey, listen to me. Okay. I don't have access to maybe view my own chat here, so let me switch my account. I'm gonna switch to my old account here. Why is what? This is actually tragic. My stream chat's not coming up on here. Oh, live chat, open panel. Give me, give me the chat. Give it to me. What? Ooh, hey, new XP to level 3 video. That's funny. That's so annoying. Okay, so here's the other way you can kind of get to the Beacons website, which is if we actually go to Beacons. Oh my goodness, I'm a writing major, and somehow I still can't type. I can grab the website from here. Yeah, Maps and Morons. https://mapsandmorons.com. So we're just gonna copy this, and we're gonna put it in. There is a chat. Like I should be able to type in the chat, right? Twitch chat. Oh, there we go. But you both are on YouTube now, aren't you? So Huh. No, wait. No, I can fix this. I can bring this back because if you're on YouTube, you can't look at the Twitch chat. Duh. But I can do this. I can open my own Twitch settings. I can go to Twitch. I can go to twitch.tv. And now that the streamception is over and I can hear myself think again, I can go to the channel and I can put it in the bio. All right. We did it. So now if you go to Twitch, you can look in the bio and there's the link to the website. Guys, I am so good at this. I'm just what can I say? It's just this is what I do. Um cool. Glad you found it, Vesper. I'm going to probably continue to call you Vesper just since that's how I met you. So that's beautiful. Okay. Still not 100% sure why I can't type in the chat that's built in here. Still not 100% sure why my chat's not coming up on the screen. But as they say in the business, we ball. So now that all of the the grandstanding is over with, let's start writing this book. Let's do it, guys. So, Vesper, I'll catch you up on this. This is a fantasy novel set in a world without yeah, okay, I'll say it's world without like humans, right? So there's a lot of different races. We have elves, dwarves, goblins, pretty much all of the standard ones that you'd find. They have different names to kind of spin it off from the typical fantasy. And these races are doing pretty okay. Like they're living in their world. There's conflict and politics and all of this stuff. One day humans kind of start popping up out of nowhere and they have to kind of deal with the consequences of being thrown into this world with nowhere to go, no one to help them, no one to hold their hands through this crazy new place that they're in. And the story's not about that, but that's like a feature of the world. So that's like the quickest way I could elevator pitch it to you. Humans are basically like displaced and looked down on throughout this world. So we have a lot of areas where they get into organized crime and a lot of places like that. So one of these organizations is known as the Unforgiven. The Unforgiven takes debtors and basically buys the debt and uses the debtors as mercenaries for crimes, right? So if you mess up, if you owe somebody some money, you can't pay back a loan or some such, they can sell you away to them, and then you have to work like an isekai human race. Hey, look at you! Look at you getting ahead of me inside my brain. So that is exactly right. They are. Where did I put this? Is it creatures? No. Is it characters? Yes. So, okay. When the humans come through, they have either near to total amnesia, and some of them, like some of the first ones, retained more of their memories than others. And some of the nerdier of them would be like, oh my gosh, I feel just like my favorite anime protagonist. I'm in a new world. I have to go on an adventure. So they get their sword and their shield and they walk out past the town proper and immediately get skunked by bandits or a monster. And then the word isekai, since it was used, tends to take on more of a derogatory connotation. So humans, isekai, that is an interchangeable kind of name for humans in this world. And just because basically I think it's funny is basically why we're doing that. And yes, isekai, Japanese language, but the people in Mythogra, which is the name of the world, they don't know what that is. they don't know what Japanese or even English is. It's just sort of the language that's being used by these people coming in. Um, exactly like Natsuki Subaru. I'm going to assume that this is a character from a show I haven't seen, or perhaps a manga. But I'm going to, yeah, not even question it if this similar idea has been done before, because that's just kind of where I landed. Which, if it's got influences, I mean, sure, that's art for you. I like that we can sort of connect the properties that we like. Uh, I'll trust that this won't get me banned, and I'll Google this person. ReZero. Okay, ReZero is something that I have heard of actually, but it's not something that I've really seen or read. These are people that come into a new world and they have to survive and they have to live as humans. Improperly dressed ladies. Sounds about right. This is yeah, classic anime. All right, I love it. We will yeah, we will kind of see where the differences really emerge once we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this plot. Um I bet this anime doesn't have magic, right? That's definitely a unique spin I've taken to this. I'm just going to pat myself on the back. No. So the magic in this world is basically um, the school of transmutation in D&D, taking the properties of some objects or materials and transmuting them to others, applying those same properties. And it's basically like a midichlorian fusion life force type magic. So anybody that was born from like the races of Mythogra can wield this magic with enough training and practice. Humans, full-blooded humans cannot because they're not from Mythogra. They don't have any of the DNA. They don't have the juice. So, yeah, right? No, how could an anime stoop so low as to, include such cliches as magic in their world? I just could never even I could never, right? So the Nexum is what it's called. It is the life force magic. And I'm just speaking of off topic stuff. I'm realizing that my ring light's not even on. That's the other. I had this set up to maybe kind of make me look pure less gaunt, perhaps. I don't know. The shadows aren't really bugging me. Fine with me if it's fine with you. It's not turned on. It's probably not plugged in down below. No, that's a problem for later. Either way, it is the life force of the world. It exists in all living things, and you have to kind of exist in harmony with it. You have to have a respectful balance. If you try to push or pull too hard against it, it can collapse onto you, and there are certain detrimental consequences. And talking for half an hour straight really gives you a nice workout up here in your larynx. So yeah, where was I with that? So yeah, the concept of half breeds are here, right? Gonks. You like gonks? Those little guys you find at Target. That is just what they are. We got some gonks. They're gonna be like a splintered race of like regular gnomes because they're funny little dudes. They're gonna like ride around in robots that they built. It's pretty fun. Um, oh my brain. Oh my brain. Oh, it's like working. It's like actually being used and it hurts. Ah, okay. So half breeding, right? It's not always looked on favorably in the society that we live in here. Um, in the book is what I mean. Take what you will from that, but basically there uh, are limitations to your Nexum channeling if you have both human and we'll say native blood. And our protagonist has this problem. So she is a half elf, which I'm not going to say Jex, even though that's what they're called in that world that I've created. I'm gonna say elves just to get it kind of, on the same level. But Perio Gladly is her name, and she is a mage by name only. She doesn't have a ton of prowess in magic. Unfortunately, she does not have the privilege to practice or kind of hone her magical abilities because she is basically a vassal of the Unforgiven that we talked about earlier. So her father incurred a massive debt and basically was put out of that group death wise, and her uh her being Perio, her basic job now is to kind of absorb his debt, pay it off, work, do whatever they need. So this is like a brief rundown that I wrote about 2 weeks ago now. Um, that is kind of got slightly changed. I'm trying to read through it and see what actually needs to be changed about this. Uh, yeah, okay. I changed it to where he wasn't involved with the Unforgiven, so that's different. Don't worry about it. Uh, then yeah, no, she does come into a small fortune. Her father hands it to her and says, "Hey, go to Magic College. We're poor, but I want to do this for you because I love you and your mom is dead and you deserve to make something more of your life. You have this gift. Go get it." So she goes to the college, which is in like this like ancestral sort of homeland region of the place for the elves, and it is called Elder Grove. I'll put that in there. And yeah, she spends an amount of time that is substantial for her to kind of tap into her abilities, learn the rudimentary basics. She is expelled mostly because of racism. The elves in this world, they all have a pretty homogenous look to them. They all have golden tinged skin and radiant purple hair and nails. Like it exists within their body. These colors have a lot of symbolism when going back to like the origins of Mythogra, where the Jeks, the elves, were believed to be like the first people. But because she has like the blood of a human, Jaren being like a handsome Caucasian gentleman, I haven't developed him further beyond that. Like her skin has a little bit of like a dullness to it. Her hair is not quite as radiant. It's certainly telling that she's not a full-blooded Jex. Some people find offense with that, and right, mm, feels good. Feels good, smooth going down, right? I'm hoping that this is well received, but basically the intent behind some of this is to kind of approach real world topics with the book. Obviously, I don't want to preach at people, but racism's bad, okay? Don't do it because it's bad. And that's kind of a point that gets lost in fantasy, where if you're using racism as a tool, as a device, racial constructs, prejudice within society, you can tell a lot of really nuanced stories with that. It's not required to tell nuanced stories, but my intent is to use it as respectfully as possible to just create frameworks that perhaps people can relate to, right? This is a story at the end of the day about overcoming oppression. Perio, is going to be thrust into a plot, a massive plot, where both sides want to use her as a pawn. The Unforgiven wants her for her magical powers. They feel they have a claim to her because of the actions of her father. There's another antagonistic group that comes in later that I will start writing at some point soon, and we'll talk about like the introductory stuff, and then you can learn more about it later if you stick around. Um, but she wants to throw off that yoke, help other people achieve freedom, and you have to have obstacles in the way for that to happen. Um, Obviously, fantasy racism has come under fire lately, especially in D&D. It's got a time and a place, but we'll hope to kind of find what those are for this story. I assume the feeling you're referring to is just kind of dancing around some of these issues, right? Either way, it's definitely something to consider when building out large interconnected worlds. And you'll find it here. And the other thing too, it's not like skin color race even. That's the thing, is that for this world specifically, you've got elves, dwarves, humans. There's not a ton of, I mean, you got elves, dwarves, gonks is what I meant to say. All these other races. There's not quite as much variance as we see with humans on Earth. But when the humans start coming in, it's people from all over the world, our world. And they are coming with a blank slate, each of them. So a a dwarf magistrate isn't going to look at uh, like an Asian human any differently than they would a black human or a white human, because at the end of the day they're all humans. They're all humans, right? So that's another point that will come up because Perio has somewhat of a prejudice herself against humans. She's living when the book begins in a subterranean base that houses all these prisoners, but when she goes up to deal with people, it's always like, yeah, this human owes us money. This human uh, beat up a barmaiden, and her husband wants retribution. It's always something like that. And there are a lot of humans in The Unforgiven that kind of run the joint as well. So the people bossing her around are humans. The people who have done harm to others that she has to kind of get back at is human. They're humans. So it all just kind of ties back to that central idea that the systems of the world cannot accommodate humans. Where do they go? They go into places where they can survive, not prosper. They're not given the pathways to do that, but where they can survive. And unfortunately, that happens to be in the realm of crime. So that basically kind of sums that up, right? That was like a 10-minute diatribe. Hope it was able to elucidate some of that for you. I don't believe that anything I write is particularly cerebral. The only reason it would require explanation is just because it's spastic, and whatever, diagnoses have yet to be made about me have, you know, caused me to go on super long-winded explanations of simple concepts. So you're welcome for that. Perio's design is different than uh, others in the world, like design from a character design standpoint, because of her anatomy is altered based on an accident that occurred where she lost her arm. So, just to touch on this, below her her right shoulder, her arm was lost in like an explosion, and then she has a prosthetic that extends down to her elbow, and she has a forearm kind of like attachment. But the thing about the Nexum is that you have to channel it through your hands. And if you have a magic attack dog and it loses an arm, you're going to try and give it its arm back. Her arm was too damaged, but they saved her hand and they grafted it to this prosthetic. She's able to channel the Nexum from her body through the prosthetic into her hand. So she can still use both of her hands to cast spells and stuff. The best uh, kind of explanation for that is that your hands are, right, how you interact with the world, how you can cause harm and create healing. So she's got one. It's dead. It has no sensation, but she's able to use it to cast spells and stuff. I was wondering if I can get some assistance on my book in the aspect of words have failed me, but basics are need help because no author friends. Suddenly went stupid. No problem, my friend. Here's the thing. We can talk about whatever you think you need, like whatever you want to get out of the stream. The tricky thing, right, is that when I write, I have to sit down and hyperfixate on it. This is like kind of hard to do in this kind of setup. So it might even be a point where like when I'm streaming, I don't even like write the actual book. I don't know. We'll see. That's just like we can talk about different strategies. Like that's what I need to do. What do you how do you kind of approach that when you are trying to get like words on a page, even if it's just like in the pre-planning phase? I am glad you like the arm thing because I was trying to iterate on the whole loss of a limb thing. How can we use that to kind of fit the rules of the world? There's a short story I wrote um, where she is like working with the Unforgiven. She has to go on a heist and do that, like you do. And she meets somebody and she shakes their hand, and this is somebody in the Unforgiven, and she's like, I've heard about you. People always said that you had cold hands because the hand that she shakes people's hands with is literally dead. There's no blood flowing in it. It's kept preserved by the Nexum, but there's no actual life to it. There's no warmth. Writing short stories for practice is an excellent way to kind of practice that. Dad the Dungeon Master. Vesper, if you're a fan of Dad's, you know that he's got two published short stories in different anthologies on Amazon. So go check those out. I still need to purchase them myself. Uh, I started a new job this semester. I'm working as a writing consultant with the university athletic department, which is pretty neat. So once I get some money, you know what time it is. Short stories are a great way to practice all the things it takes to build a novel. And here's the thing, too, right? Because novels and short stories have the same sort of approach in that you need to have a beginning, middle, and end, right? The constraint of the word count gives you a lot of unique opportunities to really, like, tune it up. You're going to have fewer plot beats within a short story, but you still have to have all your characters' motivations and stuff. And if writing a novel length piece is too daunting, you know, uh, just try to challenge yourself in those kind of ways. Dad makes an excellent point. Let's see. That make that makes sense. Cool. The writing aspect of it has to be hyper focused. Yeah, 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 exactly. Because usually I've got some music playing. Um, I really enjoy, and this is fun for I'm always down to share some cool stuff and shout people out. Hero Forge collaborated with an artist named Jonathan Young. I see that. Yeah, I remember. I saw his video about it specifically to create a free playlist of like fantasy music. Now I'm using this on my stream because it's royalty free, but it's also just really cool. So if you're writing something in the fantasy space, slow down. This is a great kind of thing to listen to. So there you go. You can have that one for free. A Peachy Peach. Hi, welcome in. This is a great question. The writing process. Yeah. The so I've gotten what you see here and what is now like I don't even remember where I put it. So I've been bringing it to class to take notes. The plot structure that we're using is known as Save the Cat. And that is like a novel writing structure that basically captures what the audience expects from a complete story with satisfying character evolutions and things like that. Distills it all down into 15 beats, basically. So, all of my notes are about that filling in the blanks. So, the whole thing's like plotted out, basically. We just have to write it. So, that's what we're going to try to do today once we are in a good spot to do that. Vesper asks, does your character with the missing arm get phantom senses? Which I had to look into that a little bit, since obviously it's not missing in the sense that it is grafted into her skin. So like it's not like a typical amputee sort of feeling. The way that I was kind of informing my thoughts on this was um, she has to use the Nexum actively every time she uses her arm. If she's not focused on the like the pressure point, it doesn't work. It flops. It's kind of rigid, but it flops basically. So you basically have a apparatus that she must focus on and concentrate on, and having to push it out of her body does hurt. So she does kind of live with the chronic pain of losing the arm and having to use it in like a different way. And um the bear at the door intro. Interesting. I poked myself really hard in the face just then. Ow. I'm going to get a fat lip, injuring myself sitting in a chair. Goodness gracious. Um Cool. I've never heard of this. I'm trying to think about if there's like another name for this that I might have heard. Um, Bear at the Door. One of my writing professors, who I would encourage you to look into his work. Also, his name is Mel Odom. He writes fantasy, sci-fi, romance, all of it. He's written for a ton of different properties, ranging from like Nancy Drew to Dungeons and Dragons, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's just a cool dude. He would always say, if you don't know how to start a story, throw a man into the room with a gun and then figure out later why he was there. What better way to start a plot? So that could be similar. And while I look that up, I just want to say, Peachy Peach, thank you so much for joining us. I gotta say, anytime there is like a new viewer, I'm going to do my due diligence and say just hey, thanks. You don't have to be here. You could be doing so many other things with your life, and yet here you are, pouring into this. Right? Thank you so much. So yeah, basically that's when you start the story off in an active conflict, aka there's a bear at the door, which is an active threat to the protagonist. Yeah, that's great. That's a don't slow down. The opening image, which is something that I've kind of included, I think somewhere. Is this the plot? Yes. So the opening image, like of the story, giving your characters life kind of in the before the status quo, before you kind of introduce a plot device that changes their world and forces them to change as a character. um it can start off kind of chill, kind of like, oh yeah, this is just my character's life. But if you're boring the reader at all by taking it real slow, then boom, there's a bear at the door. We have stuff to do, we have things to fix, we have problems to solve. So I love that approach to it. um Perio's opening image, which actually needs to be expanded out more. Cause yeah, I did plot out all of Act One on stream 2 weeks ago. Uh, this is out of date because I've written this down in my notebook in class, so I'll have to update this at some point. But basically, in her opening image, Perio isn't just kind of sitting around doing nothing. The bear at her door is that she has a quota to fill for the day. She has jobs to do. So she's going around with her little list of names and saying, okay, I got to collect some cogs from this guy. He owes us some money. Oh, I need to check on them and make sure that they've completed that order of swords for the militia that we're going to take and sell as part of his like tribute. She's going down, and everybody says that they can't meet their protection payments or whatever. And she's like, "Okay, this is the third one today. What's going on?" And the guy is like a blacksmith or something, and he's like, "Oh, well, my apprentice uh has been missing. Here's their address. You should go look for them." And she's like, "No, I'm not like, a stoolie for you. I'm a stoolie for somebody else. I'm not going to do what you asked me to do." But then she thinks to herself, and it's like, oh, crap. This actually has bigger implications than anything. Because if I go back to my handler without a reason that I don't have all the money that they're owed, it's going to be my hide, right? So then she goes, and then she finds a pool of blood and a severed hand. So now it's like, okay, this person was attacked and somebody left behind their hand as a message, as a warning. What could it be? That's because the cult of the city, which is not of the city, it's of the whole area, like the continent basically, but they're building up to something. They're kidnapping humans for nefarious purposes. So that's foreshadowed at the beginning. So that's her bear at the door. Um, if you have a protagonist, Vesper, would love to kind of hear about them. Would love to hear about like what their bear is specifically if you've thought that far ahead. If not, totally cool. But let's try this. I'm going to expand out this beginning part. And I'm actually going to create a new item here, which is I'll just call it manuscript. Basically, the way that this class works is every week I submit my milestone, and then I have notes that are given on that. We apply the notes, we continue forward until we've written 36,000 words. So that's kind of where we're starting right here. And yeah, this is not the manuscript. I will say, this is going to go through heavy revisions off stream because once I get going, I can get going, but I have to let it sit. I have to let it kind of marinate. And then I'll go back and I'll go, so that's like the worst possible way I could have worded that. What am I even, what am I doing with my life? Do I, do I need to be doing this as a career? Should I just give up and move to Alaska in a commune? Like what? So that's the other thing, right? Is that you need to let it sit. Author tip number 407. I'll make a list of these. It'll be a running joke that there's more numbers than I could possibly have tips to give you. But let it marinate. Write something, doesn't matter what it is. Write something, don't think too hard about it. Just get the words down, connect the dots from point A to point B, and then walk away. Get up, physically remove yourself from the space. It's like a Dark Souls boss, okay? If you play Dark Souls, you know what I'm talking about. There's something that happens when you've been dying to a boss over and over and over again, and then you leave and you do something else, go outside, touch some grass, come back. Your brain has taken every death, every failed punish, every mistimed dodge, and downloaded it. And then you beat the boss on your first try. The amount of times this has happened to me. Dark Eater Madir has my picture on his wall with a knife through it because I punked him in one try after failing to beat him and dying 100 times the day before. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where you want to be with your book. Treat it like that boss that you're trying to beat. You know? Write it, come back to it, download the attack patterns, and then you know where all the critical points are. Vesper says the big issue currently is I'm struggling heavily with who should be the protagonist, who should be the POV character, and or how the story plays out with them. Okay, writing tip number 692. Here's this one. Your POV character should be the character who changes the most throughout the story. Hear me out on this one. If I'm telling a story about a pizza guy, and the pizza guy's going, and the pizza guy has to deliver all of these pizzas, right? But when the pizza guy shows up to the house, and there's police cars outside, and there's been a murder, I'm not gonna go, "Oh my goodness," said the pizza guy. "I better get the heck out of here." And the pizza guy leaves, right? That story is not about the pizza guy. That story is about who the first responder was, or who the murder victim's closest friend or partner was. Or it's about the detective who's had three of these um, murders within a short string of time, and he's got to solve them before more people get hurt, right? So the person who changes the most, and also the person who has the most to lose. There you go, because that is like the most interesting story you could tell at that point. Let me get back to this chat. Uh, whether they should be an unrivaled narrator or if they should be a proper narrator. Four characters that are the main characters. Dad says 90% of what any writer created will get thrown away, but you have to write it in order to get that golden 10%. That's absolutely true. You're going to write so much, and so have I. I've written so much for other plots and other stories that got trashed. Or, when you end up writing, you're going to end up writing like more than the word count calls for, but that's because you wrote something and deleted it and changed it and deleted it and rephrased it and then found that you loved it. So you can get that golden 10%. That's right. I need to play Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's on my list. I've heard good things. That removes one character from the possible POV character list. I was debating having occasional POV shifts, but I don't want to confuse the reader. Also totally valid. Also totally valid because like that can be something that like trips people up, but you also don't want to be afraid to trust your reader. As long as you do your homework on it and you say, okay, this character is going to have this tone and this voice, right? How can I make it distinct from the others? How can I establish the fact that, this character, you know, is now the point of view for the audience? And there's a lot of little tricks you can use for that. But I mean, mainly through dialogue tags and just proper attribution of actions and things. Like that should not be, you know, something that you limit yourself by. I believe in you, Vesper. Um, having multiple characters is great too, because like this story is only going to have one, but that's because it's recommended for the class. I'll want to branch out to doing like multiple points of view at some point. Um, because yeah, even if you don't have if you have four main characters that you've now decided you only have three because you're taking one of them out of the running, every good like main character is going to need those B story characters. So please, absolutely, um, keep them like in the mix, develop them out, build their relationships to the other characters. That's yeah, a proven method. So please do that. Superstar Sean R. Arnold, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. For some reason, in my chat, I see your name but no message attached to it. But that could be, you got it exactly right. Well, hey, I've learned from a lot of people who are much smarter than me, so don't give me all the credit. um, yeah, cool. Your name. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was missing a line of text there, but you got it. No, trust me, people don't get my name right. Yeah, no, it's all good. I was unsure if there was a message that got deleted or withheld or something because of the first one that it just had your name on it. I'll call you Sean if that's cool. There's emotes. It's emotes. Oh, okay. They're not popping up in my multi-chat preview here, but I can check my phone or something. I like emotes. A lot of funny. Twitch just recently did something that was like kind of funny. It was like a Christmas themed emote with a cat, but the picture of the cat was like AI generated and its teeth were like coming up out of its lips or something. It was weird. Um, like my favorite kind of emotes, like for example, our Discord server that I have with my friends. One of them is an artist. He draws stuff and puts them in there. It's so good. So like, if Twitch had commissioned an artist or something, beautiful stuff. What are you talking about? That was my cat. Oh well, then congratulations on bridging the dimensional tear and finding this eldritch horror cat with the like the flared lips and the pointed teeth, right? I'm sure they're a handful, but don't be afraid to just get the oven mitts out and really, scrub those in because you want to avoid gangrene and also gingivitis at the same time. you know. Um, Real quick, Vesper said the dynamic between two of the main characters. One girl blames everyone else for her problems. The other one blames herself for everything. Relatable on both accounts, actually. So you're gonna find people who can connect with those protagonists for sure. And Peachy Peach, yeah, go write something. Absolutely, um, absolutely, um, do what you can to hold on to that feeling, right? This is the best place to do it too. Like the reason that I'm doing this now is because we want to have that community going. Having a cohort or a gang of friends to kind of lean on and support is absolutely what we're trying to do here. So if you want another place to kind of um, promote yourself or some other kind of writing that you're doing or just anything else, just chat with people, get other people's feedback. Dad the Dungeon Master has a pretty cool Discord server that you should join. There is a pretty active community in there. Uh, People just like to talk and chat, and it's going to be mostly TTRPG focused, but any other interests are welcome in there. So jump on over if that's something that interests you. Superstar Sean R. Arnold from the YouTube verse. See, I had it. I had it right the first time. That's funny though that it's broken up with the nickname and the periods on YouTube because they're now it actually that's like your full government right there. That's why you stream, Sean. For what specifically? Like for the community part of it? I feel like that message popped up around the time I said that because that's a good point. That's a good point of like contact to have between people that you meet is like a streaming kind of community or for whatever. Like I've uh, always been in and out of group chats on campus, right? On like my college campus, you know, people just want to talk and chat and meet up and hang out on Flannery of authors is absolutely important. That's a fun word. I've never heard that word. A flannery. I'm gonna assume that just means like a flock, like a group of confidants, or of course, that's the gym leader of Laveridge Town in the Hoenn region of Pokemon. Let's look at the definition of flannery. Okay, well, there's that guy. I mean, he looks to be a Flannery to me. This appears to be a name, but I'm sure that there's other definitions, right? There's got to be. Started streaming during the pandemic because I was going crazy with loneliness. Relatable. I was on college campuses or one college campus. I'm getting dehydrated. It's all heck right now. I don't go to Michigan, but I have the Tumblr for familial reasons. I've got family from Michigan. My grandfather was a graduate. He got his PhD in psychology from there. I don't know why it didn't tell me that. Google can be fun. Don't never trust it. You do your research, right? Collective noun for a group of authors. Yeah, I'll have to use that at some point. You learn something. That's the word of the day. Flannery. Remember that, everybody. That's like what we are. We're getting the Flannery up and going. A cavalcade, a murder of authors. Yeah. Okay, that's really good. That's a good word. And then, whoa, hang on. It scrolled way up. I think I bumped it. Let me find it again. Like it like flashed out of existence for a second. Stream Elements might be mad at me for my own inability to navigate these menus. Hang on. Where were we here? Yeah, I assume it's standard for Maps and Morons. I mean, yeah, that's basic. I would say so. Yeah, Maps and Morons is the the side hustle and the personal branding, right? My original idea was to call it a scribble of authors, but that's more of an artist thing. I like that though. Sometimes, you gotta scribble. You gotta just like get a manic, first uh just first input from your brain to your hand, just scribble it down. Flannery O'Connor didn't come up. Somebody came up. I didn't read it very closely. Who Flannery O'Connor? This is another person that I have not heard of. And which is I mean, I guess kind of typical, mostly because obviously we have a bias in our society to kind of uphold the accomplishments and achievements of male authors. We did a unit in one of my classes where we were talking about authors in the speculative fiction and horror spaces, like Mary Shelley, who had just absolutely zero clout because it just isn't given to them. And we did a lot of research about different female authors, and it's crazy that we just don't even recognize them. But this is another one, I guess. Uh, all right, cool. She dealt with race courageously. That's what I'm talking about. Wait, I don't have to. I have to read more into that. I'm sure I'm taking that out of context. Flannery O'Connor. Anything I would recognize from her? I mean, these are pretty. These go quite a way back. I don't know. I mean, I'm always trying to expand my scope of readership, so I will look into her more often. 2 novels, 31 short stories, not bad. I've written 0 novels and 8 short stories. So, I mean, there's still time, like I'm on my way. Flannery definition. Like, I gotta have a talk with the SEO people over at Google. Like, what is going on with that? This guy is an Australian mammologist. Okay, interesting. He's a science guy from Dan Under. Always good. And then Flannery, meaning in French. What? Ah, yes. Flannery. I take a stroll along the River Seine. Look at that. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Uh, Probably like the definitive Southern Gothic writer. Okay, that would make sense. Since yeah, I don't. Uh, my current library doesn't have a ton of stuff in that kind of category. I would say, but I'm always looking to expand it. Don't quote me on that because I mean I need to buy another shelf. I'm kind of limited by the strength of my shelves right now. Uh, where were we? We were doing something. There was something specific happening before Flannery O'Connor or Tim Flannery. Writing a novel. That's what we were doing. It's in the title, actually, even just in case you forgot. I'm just making sure that you all are paying attention. Um, the story begins in the town, the city of Colefell. Human name for a mineral found in the world. It's not called coal by the more refined and respected members of society. This is like a low class human word, but it's a human city. They're trying to get industry kicked back up in this fantasy world. So Colefell is where we're at. They have ore refineries and a lot of major industrial trade connections throughout the realm here. So yeah, is the city where we begin. Perio is on the job. She is doing her job, extorting the citizenry. So let's see it. Writing is so overrated for being a writer. Yeah, dude, like I can't even imagine. A writer wears a scarf even in the summer, goes to a coffee shop, brings their laptop, stares intently at it, not moving, the sweat from their frappuccino collecting on the napkin until it's just soaked through and the sun slowly cascades behind them until they get bumped with a broom by the barista who's sweeping the floor. They like tap their shoe and it's like, hey, sorry, it's time to go. Yeah, I don't do coffee shopping. I should, but I don't drink coffee, so it's kind of hard to justify the expense. Yeah, there's a really great video I saw the other day. It's like Land of Boggos. It's an animation series, and the main character is like a sensationalized version of the creator and her friends, and she's being interrogated by Homeland Security or some other suited organization. And one of the guys is like, "You'll talk," and she's like, "I'll never talk. You'll never make me." And then one of the guys is like, "I know how to make her talk." And so they bring her to a comfortable room with a desk and take off her blindfold, and it's like, "This is your writing nook." Puts a blanket around her shoulders, opens her laptop. "Now finish your screenplay." And she's like, "No, please don't leave me here. I'll tell you whatever you want." And the guy goes, "I believe you," and then closes the door and leaves. And you just hear the wails. Truly, the best way to torture any writer is to just have them write for you. Oh, we talk about the books we read in college, don't read any other books. Yeah, right. No, I still haven't shut up about Sense and Sensibility or all of the the themes of morality and human conscience from Frankenstein. Coffee is to be drunk is not to be drunk. It is to sit there and to age. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the other part of being like a very newly reemployed college student is the moral conflict of buying a beverage only to let it sit there all day. Maybe that just goes to show that I'm not a true writer yet until I write something. Um, I would love the tone of this to match other kind of fantasy stories that I've read where you've got a third person but point of view main character, and the narration is sort of informed by their tone. So it's not omniscient. The narrator doesn't know everything. They kind of learn along with the reader, along with the character. But it's definitely like detached and a little sarcastic. Yes, no. The the writing really it insists upon itself, truly. Because it's easy like any asshole can just like make a website in a Twitch channel, but then to justify the reading and writing tag. This stream usually lasts between 2.5 hours. That's usually the length of time I try to hit because that lets us have a wide depth of conversation, and then will sometimes maybe allow for me to actually get some work done. So if you have to go grab some dinner, please do that and please enjoy it. Eat slowly, savor it. If you're with a friend, if you're with family, enjoy their company. Don't worry about me. You've got a life to live, Vesper. Close third person is right. It's very like from the point of view of the character. That's what we're attempting here. I've written a lot of first person. I don't want to do first person really for this one because I like third person view. I always feel like it's a little more cinematic. Vesper Godspeed, thank you for joining us. If we're here later when you get back, then we will just kind of pick right up where we left off. Yeah, dude, put the stream on there. Show your family, yes. Hold them hostage and be like, "Guys, guys, in a minute, he's gonna make a dated reference to some pop culture thing nobody's heard of. It's gonna be amazing." College food, yeah. I absolutely, like, couldn't stand my college's food from, like, the calf. Um, it was like not that it was bad necessarily, but it was one of those little situations where I would never go for breakfast, so I would go like in the middle of the day, and it was all the food that they made that morning, and it was sitting there all day long. There was also a Chick Fil A, and they made that fresh. Gotta love it. But everything else was to be approached cautiously. So good luck with that. Fourth person existential crisis mode. Yeah, that's got to be one of my preferred methods as well. I need to be able to read in the margins a description of me reading the book. It's like God's eye perspective is what they call it, I think. Don't read for too long though, cuz eventually the book will read you back. You got to watch out. Man, 3,000 words. Cafeteria cannot put most spices onto foods. That makes sense. Yeah, they gotta tell you if the allergens are present to avoid lawsuits. Seems like a smart legal strategy to me. Go get your food. Yeah, get out of here. Go. First person and yeah, of course. Second person news. Second per yeah. Yeah, like saying that, you and like the choose your own adventure type of stuff. Third person they, and then fourth person is what could be, yeah, because like we were riffing a second ago. If for a fourth person, what would that look like? Because I've read some experimental fiction. Oh, there was one I read 2 years ago. It was like a really trippy book. You had to like read it upside down, and you had to like spin it on some pages, and it had like a wow, what was it called? Oh God, Sean, what have you done to me? It was like the leaves. Was it the leaves? It had something to do with leaves in it. No, no, it wasn't the leaves. The leaves of House of Leaves. Yes, this guy. Okay, so this book is weird as heck. Read this book. Don't look up anything about it. Just read it. It's crazy. But like fourth person, let's dish about that. Could be we. Could be like a collective tense. Could be a sort of a communal. Yeah, like I'm trying to spin it along with you. I really am in college. How could you tell? That one was recommended to me by a professor of mine who um he mainly does like film and media studies, but he teaches in the journalism college. Um I'm trying to remember if I've heard of like a third person book that kind of also extends out to like using the collective tense like that. Because if you were to approach we, yeah. No, that's a thinker for sure. Is that a stereotype that I've unknowingly stepped in? Is this House of Leaves like one of those books that's just kind of like easy for like uh is it like Bridgerton? Is it like the reality show of novels for college students? Because I just read it based off my professor's recommendation, thought it was really cool and weird. If there is any sort of connotations to that, I'd like to know so I can avoid I can avoid eating my foot in the future. Oh yeah, there is a board game club this week. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to see about that. This is a university club. Well, when I was in college, all the college kids were obsessed with it. Yeah, it came out in 2000, as it said on Google. I did not remember that. So definitely, you know, a trend that I missed personally. But Peachy Peach, thank you for coming in. Uh, if you um if you thought that book recommendation was good, you're gonna love the Dead Wizards Never Die anthology on Amazon featuring Dad the Dungeon Master. So definitely, definitely check that out. I'm not gonna stop doing that, Dad. By the way, any like shameless plugs are my specialty. Yeah. Good night, Peach Peach. Thank you so much. Uh, thank you for the supportive message as well. You know, don't stop reading. Read widely. Read. You know, read as widely as you can. Enjoy everything. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I uh I mainly joke because like I don't have an ego about really anything except esports. That's like because I personally was able to with a couple of my friends really elevate our live stream production for esports. So don't be confused at all when I can't manage my own live stream. It's because I've already used up all my skill points. I specced into the Twitch and Streamlabs side, and then this is OBS. Um, so yeah, uh that's the joke really. Like I won't apologize for liking a book ever, as no, nobody really should, right? Um, yeah, Wicked Web. That's the other one. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Wicked Web, featuring Ryan Burnhouse, which is such a great like pseudonym. I love that. You nailed it with that one. Um, a little bit farther with Twitch than you are on YouTube. Yeah, because like I think it has something to do with this category. So like I did some research on this. You can track analytics for different categories, and so um, the reading and writing category has a like higher viewership per user, like compared to the rest of Twitch because it's like a smaller category, so it's weighted differently. So this is just a neat little place to be because if you're subscribed to that like category, you have like notifications on for it. It'll give you specific notifications for that. And there's a couple of really great streams in this category, like coffee. Oh no, I'm forgetting. Coffee Quills is what it is. I have a bunch of note cards. Coffee Quills, and that was probably my favorite actually. And then there's a couple of other people in different streamers who they just do this. They sit there and do this. Some of them don't read chat as much. Some of them mostly talk to chat. I've decided that's my angle that I'm taking on it. Clearly, I've written this so far. But yeah, YouTube, as far as discovery goes, is not built for live streaming. Like YouTube lives and dies off of like the VODs. So like you definitely need a solid foundation on YouTube to get discovered. Definitely going to you know, keep pushing, see where it happens. That's really cool. Did you know Coffee before they were big in the category? Because they seem to have one of the larger streams in there when I tend to check it out. Motherboard Gaming? What? What is this, a crossover episode? Hey, thank you for joining. Uh, I should I say motherboard or should I say like stormy skies or what? Whatever you want. Let me know. But yeah, check out Motherboard Gaming for an upcoming. I want to say upcoming. I don't remember seeing it. I have notifications on for you. I don't remember seeing if your Baldur's Gate videos have gone up yet. But like, if not, that's pending and it's coming up. So if you want some fun gaming content, Baldur's Gate 3, go check out Motherboard Gaming on YouTube. And yeah, Arnold, are you ever? I said Arnold, Sean. I don't want to do the military thing where I go, you know, burn house, Arnold reporting. Um, yeah, are you live in this category often? Because I have not seen your streams, but I will. I got to go through and I got to follow everybody back anyway. Oh, I've doxed you. Check this out. Let me follow you here. Oh. Oh, you're an artiste. Oh, that's amazing. Look at that. We're gonna have to, yeah, collaborate more closely on that because I like artists. I like talking to and promoting independent artists just because I am not one, and people need art. Just got done filming. Love it, Skies. Skies again. Last names or Stormy would be a first name and Skies is a surname, or is it an adjective? Skies is just kind of like a stormy individual. You can see it in their eyes. No. I can't wait for that to come up. I'm gonna watch it. Day one. You show my publicly available stream where I'm trying to track more followers. I'm sorry, I should have asked permission. I should never have assumed you wanted like a free promo on a Twitch stream. That's my bad. That's my bad. Um, yeah, you got the YouTube thing going up. Yeah, that's been fun for me. The multi-streaming thing. I hope you've gotten some value out of it. I've been trying to demo it for one of my other friends. His name is Just Cynic. That's just underscore cynic on YouTube. He makes music and he has been streaming on YouTube. But like as we've established, YouTube discovery is not great for live streamers. So if you like little independent music artists, go support him. He's got a couple songs on Spotify that are pretty cool, pretty nostalgic sort of vibes to those. Yeah, I saw that you were pretty close. You're like 988 now that I've tacked one on. 967 with me. Okay, including me. There we are. I'm gonna have to go through and actually bulk up the people that I'm following on here. That'll be good for sure. Because a couple of other people in my chat, like, so yeah, this was fun. I didn't notice this until just now. I have a little message here that says an hour ago there was a raid, but I don't think there was a raid that happened on this stream with 10. So like that's I don't know where that came from. But on one of my first streams I did get raided by two-thirds Lotus is their name, and I've seen them go live. I'm not sure what for. This was 2 weeks ago again, but yeah, they rated with 3 viewers. That was just so cool, and I followed a couple of those people on my other Twitch account. I gotta sync these up. I got the Maps of Morons one. I need to actually unify those a little bit. So yeah, for all of the hottest One Piece commentary and funk thoughts of Attack, is that gonna be Attack on Titan perhaps? Because that movie coming out is really got me excited. I know it's just the last 2 episodes, but those were 2 really good episodes, so I might go see that. I've been told I look angry all the time. No, my RBF was a point of contention at my last big job. It was a summer camp, and that's one of those places where you have to be so happy and so cheerful all the time. Welcome, children. Today we're doing arts and crafts, and then we'll have snack time. But I would work the mornings, and I would kind of be there just like, yep. So get your backpacks out if you want to save your art project. You can put it in your backpack, whatever you want. And it was always funny when parents would show up to pick up their kids. I'd have to like stand with my face to the wall and go, okay. And then open the door and be like, hey, welcome. So good to see you. And then yeah, the internal dialogue does not match the outer visage at all. It's not hard to like separate them, but it does take effort. A bit delayed on YouTube. That might be because I'm using the stream elements thing that takes your main canvas and just displays it out. So maybe that's what it is. Because like my main canvas is Twitch. They have better encoders from what I've done in my research, what I've seen. It is so funny to see you doubling up on the typing. Yeah, you've got the the Twitch and the YouTube icons for me. This multi-chat thing is really handy. Um, but yeah, no, whatever you prefer. If you prefer seeing it on Twitch, yeah. I wonder if there's anything I could do under the hood to fix that. Yeah, customer service will put you through the paces on just kind of how far you can bend your appearance before it kind of snaps. There is. Good. There's a solution. I can set to low latency streams on YouTube. Okay. Let me write that down on my note card here. Low latency streams. Because that's the other thing. The other cool thing about streaming writing is that this doesn't need a massive setup. You know? Okay, yeah, I took the notes so I could mess with it later. Thank you for clarifying. I will set it to low because this requires nothing. My internet's not bad. My apartment has a thing with Cox, so like it's pretty good internet. But I don't need to be streaming in 4K 1080p this window and my face. Honestly, I would be fine if this was bit crushed and all fuzzy because the content is the more important part. Like the content that you see popping up and everything. So like, yeah, I don't have any opposition to a low latency stream. Yeah, I bet there's a similar because we had to find a workaround for a problem we were having at the live streaming for esports because we were streaming Super Smash Brothers and it was trying to display the 30 frames per second gameplay in such a high quality from the program we were using to capture it, and it was trying to push that out. Basically trying to push like 60 FPS, like perceived FPS, through that, and it was bottlenecking and stuttering. And we had to like go in there and change the settings and turn it down to 30 so it was unified, and we weren't trying to overdo it. So same principle applies. I love that. All right. I've got the feeling now that just because of the time that we're at, it would behoove us to get some words down on the page. Because I'm having a great time. I'm having a lot of fun. I want to try and maximize both value propositions here. Come for the good conversation. Come for the community. Come hang out and talk about. We'll talk about how to approach writing, and we'll talk about all of the best practices. And then also, I might actually do some writing. So let's try and jump on this while we can, while we have time. Is this gonna change? I did make it smaller in the stream window. That's because I edited it in real time. Let me bring it back over here, and I'm going to drag it slightly away so I can still read chat. That's important. If I can't read chat, what's the point of having it up? So I'm also going to have to figure out, to see if I can figure out how to get chat on the screen. I love it when live streams have that. So I need to figure out how to get that to work for me. Who says you need to do any writing on a writing stream? Me. I do. Because it's really kind of important that I have something to present in class. If you're on Discord, Superstar, you should go ahead and add me there. I've gotten to chat with a couple people who are subbed. If you have like a video you want to share, or just like a quick little description of how to set that up. I was trying to do the Stream Elements way. I added the plugin. It's in my little thing. It's the chat source. It's the browser source. So it says it's supposed to like just work right there. Okay, so I was using the Stream Elements Live, right? Like SE Live. That's allowing me to do multi-streaming. And that's how I got these animated widgets here. If it's like an OBS tool, that's neat. There are ways to do it through Streamlabs, not Streamlabs. I keep saying Streamlabs. Stream Elements. I watched the video. I just must have done it wrong, because it didn't work. So like I'll have to tinker with it. I didn't know how to get these animated widgets to come up the first time. Like I messed with it, I did what it said, but I left out like a single box that I didn't tick, so it didn't work. So yeah, yes. Let me put it let me put it up here because that is I'm not secretive about this. Maybe should I be? You know, but no, I trust you. I trust you, Sean. Let's. Oh yeah, I have streamer mode enabled for Discord. I was like, why is my username missing? But yeah, no. If you want to send me a friend request, let me put my Discord handle in here. I am simply Parker underscore DV. That's me. All right. Let me go ahead and yeah, just while we're here, I will. That's how you know it's me. So then I'm gonna do this. Boom. Where'd it go? It's gone. That's because I'm going to follow this link and add you. I don't remember what comes up exactly um when you uh put the link in. So I don't want to divulge sensitive information here. Bigfoot's Utopia. This is great. If it's publicly available, sure, but I didn't know if I pulled up if it was going to take me like to your account or something. See, that's the thing. I'm going to err on the side of caution even when it makes zero actual sense to do so. Let's see. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Wow. Okay. I'm seeing here some really some really fun channels. Um there we had a channel in my one of my old Discord servers that was just called Gibby, and it was just pictures of Gibby. You know Gibby, right? Jumping out of the ceiling and slapping people with stop signs. That Gibby. DMs accepted. All right. Okay, here we go. So that's that. Thank you for the invite. Feels good to be part of something, part of a club. I'm gonna put this under the community tab. Uh, it's like the community servers that I'm in that are basically for people's independent content stuff. Um, there's a couple of them. It's like some of them my friends run, and then there's one that's run by Dad the Dungeon Master. Go to Dad the Dungeon Master on YouTube to find the link to that Discord server. While you're there, drop him a like. I think he mentions he there's this one short he recently made where he talks about some like random streamer. It was called Maps and Morons, I think. It's like this dude, he just doesn't even do anything. He just kind of sits there the whole time and talks. It's like I don't see the appeal personally, but maybe you'll like it. So go ahead and check that out while you're there. 1 hour 41 minutes 32 seconds. I'm gonna remember the timestamp for that. Whoop whoop. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for the invite, Sean. Good to be in the utopia. It's about time we had a Bigfoot's utopia. Okay. Let's just a quick check-in from of the real life of Parker. Um Apparently, if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3 and you want to betray Glut, you have to agree to betray Spa, and then you have to go to Spa and tell him that you've brought Glut to him for his execution. I'm going to assume that my girlfriend is playing Baldur's Gate right now, unless she's gotten into some dubious business, and I should be concerned. A lot of discussions of murder happening in this text thread of ours, right? Don't take that out of context. Um, yeah, no, I will never. I'm never gonna beat the goober accusations, am I? Yeah, I've only recently kind of put a pause on my Baldur's Gate because my semester started, new job. It's a time sink, and it's so good. It's so good. How I don't know, understand how it's still so good every time after play. I've been playing it for like I didn't get it right away. I got it. It had to have been like 8 to 10 months after it came out. So like I was late to the party, but I've gotten so much out of it. Um, ma'am, let me tell you. Let me tell you what the book's about. There's gonna need okay. The website. Okay, before the end of this weekend, the website's gonna have this on the website. All right, for everybody to know, because I feel like hopefully, if we get more days like today where new people come in and they want to know about the book, then I have to explain the whole thing, and I don't know how to explain it concisely. So that's going up on the website. It's gonna be the novel. It's gonna be the debut novel for Maps of Morons Publishing. It's gonna be that whole thing. So here is what the book is about for you, Sean, just for you. So basically, it is a fantasy story. It's like I would consider it to be low fantasy, specifically, uh, with a fragmented world, metaphorically speaking, of Mythogra is what the world is called. So let me start over. The world of Mythogra is full of different uh, cultures and creatures, and it is a pretty classically inspired, like fantasy world. This rips straight out of the hodgepodge of Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and all the movies that I've seen, coalescing into that. So Mythogra, and I will put this up here that is kind of like a visual aid to help me. Want to make sure I can actually like use the work I've already done to explain it. So yeah, the world of Mythogra has kingdoms, and it has different cities within those kingdoms, and these cities are populated by the different races of the world, the different um, species of creatures. So we have, to put it plainly, we have like elves and dwarves and goblins and gonks, which are like funny little gnome guys, right? Um, and there are others that I'm still kind of tinkering with, like how to actually introduce them. But the status quo of this world is broken when a couple hundred years before the events of the novel, you've got these other random beings who are just they start popping in randomly. A flash of light and a bolt of lightning, and then all of a sudden there are just these new creatures. They are odd. They are foreign. Nobody knows really what to do with them. But they call themselves humans. And the typical human that comes into Mythogra from this method has mild to total amnesia. They don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. All they know is they are now in a world with people with, you know, purple hair and golden skin looking down at them like, what is going on with you? And basically, the entire framework of society shifts when you got these humans coming in. They're not really looked upon favorably. They are given very little access by the majority of people to like integrate. So they end up forming these little pockets within a lot of different cities and kingdoms where uh, they do crimes, and so from this becomes a particular type of kind of guild to manage this this new development because law enforcement is kind of had a span thrown in its normal processes. These are undocumented people basically coming in. They are really doing their best to find out what to do with them, the different kingdoms. Um, so there is a new organization that kind of comes up called the Unforgiven, where basically, if you have a debt with that other person, you can sell the debt to the Unforgiven, and then they will take the debtor and basically forcibly employ them as a mercenary in their criminal enterprises. So if you owe somebody money, you might find yourself getting knocked out and you wake up in a cave, or it's not a cave, it's like a subterranean base where they go, here's your number, here's your um, basically new life, and if you mess up or betray us or try to escape, we'll kill you. So they kind of absorb the loss of that. This goes on for a couple hundred years. After a couple generations of humans have gone through the processes, right? Um, you've got plenty of mixed families now since humans are coming in and they are able to like settle down, marry into families, have kids, and here's where we meet our protagonist, whose name is Perio Gladly. Elves in this world have like a very kind of standard, kind of very fanciful naming convention. And so Perio is half elf, half human. Her father was a human. She, growing up, wants nothing more than to be a mage. Now, because she has elf blood, she has inherently within her the power to control the Nexum, which is a life magic that kind of exists within all living things in the world of Mythagra. Humans cannot channel it. Full-blooded humans cannot channel it because they're not from Mythagra. They don't have it in their blueprint. Because she has the blood, it's basically like her blood is a little diluted. It's a little weaker. And I say blood in the metaphorical context. It's not like a blood magic, but it's just something that she has the power to do. But it's like she has a difficulty, kind of like really it inhibits her. And she wants nothing more than to be a mage, but unfortunately, her family is not very well off, and her mother unfortunately dies when she's young. So she has to just work with her father and basically try to live and survive. But one day, her father comes up with a lot of money out of nowhere and says, "This is your dream. I want you to chase it. Go to the college in Eldergrove, the city across the kingdom. Go to the mage college and achieve your dream. I love you. Go." So then she goes and she's doing fairly well. Like she has a little bit of a natural acuity for the magic, but she is, you know, not only having to deal with her like inhibited physiology, but you know, half breeds as they're called are not looked on favorably by a lot of people, and this is mostly full-blooded elves here. So she is expelled. It does not help her case that she is half human, half Jex. There's going to be a scandal that comes up that she's involved with, and she is unfairly sort of scapegoated. That's a word, scapegoated, right? And then she has to go back home. When she arrives back at her hometown, somewhat dejected because she kind of feels like she squandered her dream, her one chance. Um, Somebody, appears from an alleyway, bonk, and she wakes up in one of these bases. And the greasy thug looking down at her is like, "Hey, so you owe us a lot of money. Where is it?" And she's like, "I kind of spent it all on magic school." And they're like, "Great. So you're going to work for us for probably the rest of your life, and you're going to earn us that money back." So that's what she does for a multitude of years. And when the story begins, she is on the job. She's going through the motions. She is willing to do whatever they tell her to do in order to survive so that she can hopefully pay off her debt in time to spend some of her life free. And she starts to uncover a plot. She has to fight back against not only the Unforgiven, but another shadowy force that comes up to use her as a pawn in their game. She's tired of that. She's tired of being bossed around and forced to, live the way that other people demand that she live. So that's her character arc throughout the story. Is finding out how she can push through the obstacles to free herself. And then she ends up realizing she doesn't just want to free herself, she wants to free everybody. She wants to tear down the system that is putting people in these positions of servitude. So that's a different way than I explained it earlier. Earlier, when I saw you, Vesper. By the way, I was too busy monologuing. Sorry about that. Welcome back. Um, I explained it more from it was like a more character focused description of the story. That time I tried to do it from like in the beginning there was life type of deal. I think the way that I explained it the first time was a little easier to kind of digest. So I think I'll try that again too next time. Thank you, Sean, for the opportunity to kind of change up the style and do it differently. Yeah. No, I seriously started like twiddling my fingers like you will see the full machinations of my plot. It's funny because a plot in this case, it's like a double entendre. All right, so I'm imagining it. I imagine that he's sharply dressed, maybe a nice aftershave. It's Penguin Random House. You got to show up. You got to dress to impress. Uh, or maybe it's a lady, right? Because women can be executives and CEOs. You know, maybe her heels, the clicking echoes throughout the linoleum lobby, and I see my opportunity to step in, and I introduce myself and I say, "Hi, my name's Parker. Have I got a book for you, ma'am, for your next for your next venture?" Publishing houses don't necessarily reach out to the authors. Yeah, no, it would be like me. I can imagine that I'd have an agent to do that for me. I don't know. I don't know how that works yet. I'm still new to this, right? Yeah, no, the elevator pitch is definitely all about brevity, and that's something that I guess I have the luxury of not needing um on a stream because I mean it's all on my dime here. Let's try it again. Okay. Dang, I feel like no, this is good. I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's like I feel like you're really putting me in a spot where I gotta sharpen up here. 30 seconds on the clock. Can I summarize the plot of this book in 30 seconds? All right, let's do it. This is the calculator app. I opened the calculator app thinking, all right, 30-second timer. The timer's going. Hi. So here's the story. Basically, it's a mythical world full of fantastical races and creatures, and also humans have started randomly appearing. After about 300 years of mixed relations, we have a society that is split purely down the middle. And one character, one woman who comes from both sides of this conflict, has to basically fight for her own freedom and then to earn the freedom of others who are part of these oppressive systems. Over. Okay. So okay, that see yeah, because I was scrambling a little bit right there because it's like that's a lot to condense it down to, but like the back cover copy needs to accomplish this. It needs to be succinct and tight enough. So like I guess maybe again in a faraway land full of magic and monsters. There is a young lady who is a prisoner and forced to do the dirty work of other evil people. One day, she gets the chance to earn her freedom, but it is sabotaged. So she has to embark on a journey purely fueled by revenge, purely fueled by the desire to belong, and fight against a system that wants to force her to be a pawn in a game that nobody should be forced to play. Okay. See that even then that was tough. I don't feel like I even got half of the important stuff there. The first time it was about the world, second time it was about the character. So what's more interesting? What would you rather hear, Sean? What would you rather hear? Would you do you care more about the character or do you care more about like the premise, like the world? That's worth knowing. That's information worth knowing. Absolutely. Um Vesper, great question. I'm trying to think about so I have two answers to this question. The first one is that for the save the cat formula that I'm kind of using, um, it really allows more for like the structure of the class. It's easier to do it like in me in Media Ray right? I'm trying to think about that that term. It has to start kind of like in the middle of the action, like with the bear at the door situation. So basically, it's like the present day and it continues from there. It kind of allows for that the most. Yeah, that's the term. I don't remember how to say it. And media ray is what I want to say, but it's probably not that. It's probably like something slightly different. But basically, yeah. Starting in the middle of the action, that's how we're kind of gonna do that. Um, I love flash forwards like that. I love chapters being a like window into what's going to happen later. One of my favorite books of all time, The Dragon Factory by Jonathan Mayberry. It's like the third, I think. The second or third. It's the second or third. Definitively, I can say that. The second or third in a series of like high octane super spy thrillers where it's one guy who's a cop and he gets recruited by this government agency to fight terrorists who are trying to turn people into zombies. Already you're thinking, yes, I want more of that. Somehow the books take that premise of like bioterrorism and make it even crazier. So let your imagination run wild about what the Dragon Factory could possibly be in that context. But basically, it starts out with him, and he is bloodied and beat up, and he is screaming through his teeth in pain back behind enemy lines. He has a knife and a gun with a magazine that is not full, and he has to load it and rack the slide and go, they took everything from me. Now I need to go get my revenge. Chapter 2, 1 year earlier. And it's like, no way. You're telling me that this is the stakes? The stakes are everything that this guy holds dear? Holy, right? So, come on. That's going to be a good book. And I love doing that. So, like, if that's the kind of tone you want to achieve, right? Absolutely do it. Simplest way of what I have, the first chapter is in the middle of a massive action sequence, not incredible depth yet, but it gives the reader a look into this problem. Always good. Always good to give them a problem, and then they're thinking, well, now we have to solve this problem. How are we going to do it? The jump back to the actual beginning of the story is supposed to give the reader the feeling of dread, knowing that this chapter they've just read is coming, but the characters do not know. Dramatic irony. Yes, I am a huge fan of that. I always love it. John Wick is too cool, right? John Wick is a great. I love the movies as a character. Obviously, John Wick is kind of one note. I will say because he's the man. He cannot be killed. Like they can't keep making John Wick movies if John Wick dies. So he can't be killed. And as a result of that, it can be slightly, like only just the most minuscule, unnoticeable amount less exciting. What I love about this other book series, it definitely captures the what is it called? The gravitas of like a really highly trained like killer, but this character he gets a lot more like personal stake. He gets more like personal like he gets more of like a care package than John Wick does in the movies, I guess. Not to say that John Wick's journey is not tragic and warrants like, you know, a strong reaction like he gets, but the jump back to the beginning, uh we covered that. Courtney Keanu Reeves, John Wick's, yeah, of course. But like before we knew that, like even before, like by the time the third one came out, you were thinking, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a Fast and the Furious with this. Which hopefully, if Keanu Reeves like wants to let it rest respectfully, that will be nice. Because John Wick does deserve like a good send off. I haven't seen the fourth one, but I heard it like kind of got close to that. Perhaps he just said in an interview recently. Oh damn, that sucks. Does he say he wants to, or does he say like is he like okay with the fact that he's probably reaching the end of his line on that? The comparison that I was kind of trying to draw earlier was like in the original book First Blood, which was that's Rambo, right? Rambo dies in that book. But when they made the movie, they changed the plot for that reason. You can't make another Rambo movie if Rambo dies at the end. So absolutely, nuance. There are nuances to those situations, but he doesn't know if he can physically do them. Right? Yeah. My chapter two. Okay, well, yeah, okay. Vesper's book. Here we go. Here it is. So my chapter two is the biggest problem because I do not know where to start. It all depends on which character is the POV. If it's the girl who blames everyone else, prison cell. Okay, that gives you an opportunity to give us some serious insights into the characters' like feelings. You'll want to definitely make sure that you do it organically, but you know, if they're in prison, something left them in that situation. They have thoughts and feelings about that. You got to make sure that those are covered. You can do that through dialogue with the other prisoners or with the guards. You can do that through them talking to themselves. However you feel the need to do that. If you start with the girl who blames herself, Farm. If I start with my favorite character, the reader will get an unreliable narrator, and that starts them off in a flower garden. Interesting. Yeah. I do like unreliable narrators when I read stories. There's this book. It was a fun little book I read called The Maid. I have it over here. It's The Maid by Nita Prose. Um, I won't spoil it, but the unreliable narrator there is like it's always interesting to see that done in a way that you've never seen it before. Um, so that book went uh almost. I guess you could say it went viral, right? Because it was on Book Talk. This is what my professor was telling us. But like, yeah, like it's a good motif. Unreliable in the sense that he's lying to the others about who he really is. Interesting. Vesper, I'm gonna need you to sit down for this. Okay? I'm gonna need you to really brace yourself. The Maid by Nita Prose, available on Amazon, is a maid. That's her profession. Okay, now listen, before you freak out, just let me say this. It's more interesting than it sounds. So, you gotta give it a chance. So that's definitely it's a fun little read. I crushed it in 3 days, so you could probably do the same. Uh, does it sound like I'm saying Maine? The maid, Made, main. It's like a mm, it's like a kind of like a sound with the tongue. Made, main, right? I tend to chew on my words, especially when I've been talking nonstop for 2 hours. Like, okay, so my girlfriend makes fun of me for saying so like, all right, you know your bones, right? Your bones make up a structure called your skeleton. Your skeleton. I understand there's a T there, but when I say it, it comes out as skeleton. Like that's like the Cockney British pronunciation. It's like, oi, bruv, look out behind the corner. There's a skeleton. It's like I don't understand where that comes from, but I can't say the T. Skeleton. Trying to figure out a mob joke, like a made man. Yeah, right. MAID. So she's a maid at a hotel. She cleans people's rooms. She is the last one in, or the first one in, last one out of all the hotel rooms. So she knows all the gossip. She knows all the dirt. Hard to pronounce the letter T. Yeah, it flips flops because like I'll say the T in every other word, but like skeleton just gets me. If I'm playing Minecraft, it's like, oh, that skeleton just dropped a bow and arrow. I'm starting to zone out. I'm starting to zone out hard right now. This is like what I love about streaming is that it's just like I can just hang out, like it's super casual, but it's like it's tough because it's a screen. I need blue light glasses. Yeah, don't let anybody tell you, Sean, that you say words wrong. Don't let the haters bring you down, buddy. I've never even seen you spell a word wrong in the hour and a half that I've known you. Perfect diction and everything. Like I can't even compare my own writing to these Twitch messages. Oh boy. Okay, I'm starting to get kind of a headache even. So I think that means it's a natural stopping point. I think that's where we're at now. I think we need to call a success. We need to call it a success here. Uh we are absolutely making moves here in the realm of just chatting. If it weren't for the anecdotes about writing, this stream would be totally miscategorized. But who cares? Before I go, I do have one more thing I'd like to say, which is that back in the olden days of Mythogra, back in yore, when the lands were dominated by golden skinned elves and reclusive mountain dwelling dwarves, um, there was not peace, but something close to peace. That all changed when humans began appearing in fields and under stables, and they swarmed. And then the world became more a question of how do we, how do we less a question of how do we um how do we advance, how do we go forward, but how do we integrate the human population that's come in. And I think I hit 30. I was kind of I had my timer going, I tapped on it, so like that was 30 seconds. If I hadn't stuttered a little bit, maybe that could have been good. But that was a solid attempt. No, my brain is unraveling at the very seams right now. Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking time, Sean. It's getting better. It's getting better. That's what I'm talking about. Um, that's my homework then. I'm gonna stream tomorrow as well. Basically, before then, I'm gonna try and have a more succinct description, and we're gonna throw it up on the website. You heard it here first, folks. Okay. Well, this was this was great. This was really great. So, I would like to thank Vesper for dropping in again on our first like actual like long conversation, right? Since they're following, so I appreciate you being here, Vesper. Thank you to Motherboard Gaming and Dad the Dungeon Master, as always, for dropping in. It's always so great to see you all and talk to you guys, especially on Twitch. Um, yeah, and thank you, Sean, for joining this little cohort. Our Flannery is growing strong. That's because of you guys. So really appreciate that. When we come back tomorrow, there's going to be something here for us to discuss. And hey, bring your own material. Bring your own pitches. Bring your own, elevator manuscripts, and we will run through those. Is that the head of HBO, John HBO? No, people make that mistake a lot. It's actually I'm actually Max. Good to meet you. Oh my god, the puns. These are the jokes. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Sean. Absolutely good to talk. Thank you, Vesper. Thank you, Stormy Skies. Thanks, Dad. We're gonna get some good sleep tonight. That's my goal. So, drink some water. Tell somebody that you love them and value them. And this is um, this is Maps and Morons. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night.